This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation, welcome to episode 24 of Chicken Salad. My name's Ben Locke, and let me bring in my two co-hosts tonight. Both people are here. First of all, a man who's so young, his legend reunion consists of Juice and Domino, Maven, and Simon Dean. It's Logan Crosland. Good evening, Logan.
I didn't know Grooney was going to be on this episode. Big Maven fan, James Grunberg is. But nice to see you tonight, Ben. Good to be here.
Well, you know, he might never be able to come on, but I can give him the odd mention every now and again. My second co-host is a man so old, his legend reunion consists of George Hackenschmidt and former President Abraham Lincoln. It's only Shawn fucking Kidd. Good evening, Shawn.
Hey, it's good to be here. I'll apologize ahead of time. I am under the weather, but you also miss Carl Gotch, very famous legend that would be in my Slamboree. But no, it's good. It's good to be here. I know I missed the last episode. I don't remember the last time I was on, but I wasn't going to miss this episode based on the back and forth chats that we had, and because our guest star is here tonight, and I'm sure he'll piss me off at some point too. So.
Well, as you have mentioned, we do have a special guest tonight, and it's another one of your ill-begotten Place to Be Nation sons. You've got both of them on tonight, which
I claim no responsibility for this one whatsoever. He is on his own in terms of the way he acts. Logan, I'll take some accountability for. This one, I will not.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome.
So, I'm just saying right now, I do not want any sibling rivalry tonight. Just let's all play nice, yeah. Let's all play nice.
No, we gotta worry about siblings. We gotta worry about the siblings attacking the parental unit tonight. That's what we have to worry about.
You can hear this person on YouTube Roulette with Shawn, and here on the rest of the feed, and over on the Pop feed on Pop Goes to the Couch, and Battlestar. In the 21st century, it is, of course, Scott Shifflett. Good evening, Scott. How are you?
I'm glad to be here tonight. And yeah, Ben, there is no issue with me and Logan. We get along great. It's Shawn who doesn't want to take responsibility as being a negligent father. So he doesn't even want to say that I'm his.
I feel like this is always like a Melrose Place plot just taking place live on the show.
I took you to WrestleMania. I mean, what more do you want?
That is true.
You're a special Eugene boy.
Yeah, I mean, we all have that family member that we don't want to admit we have, but we still take care of them behind the scenes, Chef.
Yes, exactly. To digress real quick, we took a picture in front of the Dusty Rhodes statue, which is on my phone, and when the guy took the picture, I told Shawn he definitely thought we were father and son right there, and Shawn just said yes.
No, there was no doubt. There was no doubt. He definitely thought that we were father and son. Yes.
The big question is, though, Scott, this is very important for Shawn and these trips. Did he buy you some ice cream? That's the big question.
No, he did not, but I don't think he bought Logan ice cream this time, so he didn't want to spend too much money. He had to pay for myself as well as Logan, so there was no ice cream money this time.
I see.
I did pay for shots at the hotel. No, wait,
yes.
I didn't even pay for that. Ben Zaney paid for those. I didn't even pay. No, I didn't pay for. I didn't pay for that either.
It was that much of a hazy night. He can't remember what he paid for.
I might have bought him a beer at GCW. That's about the only thing I can remember. I don't remember anything else.
As long as somebody didn't smash it after, that's fine. Right. So you may have guessed from my intro what it is that we are talking about tonight, but as you know, in this little run we are doing, our special guests are picking the show. So, Scott, what did you get us all to watch for to talk about for tonight's show?
Slamboree 93. This is a show that I've seen multiple times because I somehow have it on VHS. I still have it to this day. I'm not sure how I got it in my possession, but I watched it a lot of times. That's why it holds a lot of nostalgia for me. It is kind of bad. I do remember fast forwarding through a bunch of parts on VHS, which I was forced to watch because of my own pick list time, So just want to see if it held up or if it was, not the best, which I'm leaning towards not the best, but we'll see what happens.
I see. Yeah. As you can imagine, with my funny accent, I watched the main event in the 90s, but the rest of the show not until the network came on. That's my memories of it. Logan, how about you?
This is definitely one I watched on the network when it first came out. WCW wasn't super on my radar when I was younger because it was basically almost done by the time I was old enough to really understand much of anything. But yeah, this is definitely one I went when the network came out. I went through all the WCW pay-per-views and kind of watched them chronologically. So yeah, this is one I definitely saw then, and I've probably watched it maybe twice before this time. I don't know why I've watched it twice, but yeah, I've watched it twice probably before this.
I know why you watched it. It's for the 15-minute draw banger we're going to talk about tonight.
Shawn, I get the feeling you may well watch this live and quite a few times after.
I did. And, I'll go into a little detail as we watch the show. There was one match in particular on this show that I was really looking forward to for a reason that I'll discuss later. But yeah, I saw it live and I kind of liked the concept. I had been watching WCW, like 92 was a good run because it had the Dangerous Alliance stuff. Starrcade 92, I think, is one of my favorite underrated pay-per-views. And so I just kind of continued watching it in 93. And Slamboree, the Legends thing really appealed to me. The tease of the Horsemen getting back together in the build was definitely a sell job. One of the matches on here was a sell job for me. But I also wanted to see some of the Legends because I wasn't 100% familiar with the Legends, of really, like I am now. I watch a lot of old shit now. But back then, I was kind of fascinated about who was what they did, why should I care? So I was really into this when the pay-per-view was announced. So we'll definitely see if it holds up. Some does, some does not. And I think we'll have a lot of debate about this show based on what I think I already know. So
Absolutely. And this is also being held in one of WCW strongholds, Atlanta, Georgia, in the Omni. Is that a place you've been to, Shawn? I know I keep asking you, but I'm not asking you deliberately.
No, but I've watched a shitload of stuff from the Omni, obviously. I hold an NWA podcast, and the Omni was like Crockett, Central next to North Carolina. So pretty famous place, but no, I've never been to it.
Right. I'm guessing neither of you two have Logan. Scott, you've never been to the Omni?
It's not even around anymore. I think it's gone.
Is it not? Is it gone?
I'll look it up. I think so. Let me look it up.
I think it's gone.
I think it got torn down somewhat recently, though. I don't think it's been gone for a long time.
Because I know NXT went to the the center stage, didn't they? They had a tape in there. So yeah, is the Omni no longer with us? That's
that's where NWA
also it got demolished in 1997.
97.
Oh,
so
okay. So it's been a while. Oh, it's been a while then.
So State Farm Arena is where the Omni used to be now.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Right, gentlemen. So if we are ready, let us go to the Omni, which is still with us in 1993 for Slamboree and Legends Union.
Good Lord.
Did you like that little segue there? That was good. All right. So our hosts tonight are Tony Schiavone and the living legend Larry Zbyszko. We find out straight away that Jesse Ventura is sadly in hospital. I'm not sure I couldn't find what he actually had. I think it might be kidney stones, but I don't want to be.
I think it was erectile dysfunction caused by steroid use.
No, Shawn. It wasn't.
This is where they actually. This is Jesse Ventura number 2. They killed him right here, and this is where they swapped the body.
I see, and that's why they had to get the brain in. Right, with you. So Tony and Larry preview tonight's events, and as I say, Tony let us know that Jesse's in hospital. Max Payne plays the national anthem on Norma Jean, whilst the legends are just stood around doing nothing in the ring, like they're just like waving out and having fun. After the national anthem, Tony introduces us to Eric Bischoff and Missy Hyatt, or doing the interviews tonight. The lights then decide to go out, which flutters Eric, but he is a professional, so he does carry on. He lets us know that Sting will be facing the prisoner tonight, as Scott Norton is injured. So it is going to be Sting versus the prisoner in the bounty match, and we'll get to the prisoner later on. However, I do got to say, gents, for once, I do agree with Missy Hyde on something when she says the Hollywood Blondes are the team of the 90s. God's tag team will be appearing later on, and will Ben is Hollywood Blonde Mark number 1, just in case you didn't know.
Well, Missy just wanted to bang him. I mean,
yes.
So Ben, can I say a couple things about this intro? Because I can't, like, how can we ignore this? So the first thing I did, like, from a legend standpoint, I did like the photo montage shit. But you're like you said, it's like lots of old people in the ring, and and the other thing I wondered to myself in 1993, with like no context, how many people in the audience actually knew who any of them were? And this is the first mention by Larry tonight
0
of multiple where he spews some really stupid time pyramid bullshit that was ridiculous. Like, he does this 3 times. The legends of time pyramid, and Tony no-sells it, which is great. Let's see. And the other note I made is nothing screams relatable to the legends in the ring like Max Payne playing guitar. Like, really? Like, what? And I have no idea what he's wearing. And then the guys carrying out the carriage with Moolah. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Sean, that was the same box that Luger attacked Sting at Clash of the Champions back in '91. I'm pretty sure.
Well, if I knew Moolah was in it, I probably would have dropped it, because that probably would have been fun to watch.
Same.
And the one more note I made about Missy's hair, it looked like the mushroom guy from Mario. And then the other comment that was great that they made, the prisoner had actually took out Scott Norton, which made me laugh as well. So quite a lot going on. This intro and then the lights going out, definitely not the best start to this pay-per-view, which is unfortunately probably a sign to come. Not great.
Yeah, fucking Toady Hyatt.
Yeah, he did. He looked like the mushroom guy from Mario. So
we were banging the time period where WCW were not just taping worldwide months in advance, but also Saturday night was like doing the 3 or 4 week taping as well. So there was a lot going on. Right. So the first match of tonight is a tag match consisting of Bobby Eaton and Chris Benoit versus Marcus Alexander Bagwell and Too Cold Scorpio. I'll go to Logan first. 2 things, Logan. First of all, how great is it to hear the Midnight Express FTR music? And as this is probably one of the only good matches we have tonight, perfectly acceptable tag team wrestling opener, I thought.
Without a doubt. I was more a fan of Here Comes Too Cold Scorpio when he came out. So I like that one. I like that one a little better.
I'm glad you can do it, Logan. I can't do that with my voice. So thank you.
But yeah, that Midnight Express music is pretty sweet. But yeah, this is a good way to open with these guys. Scorpio and Benoit especially really brought it. They had a real hot open to start the match. They kept acting like Benoit throughout the match was like this veteran, and I thought it was a kind of weird stance since this was pretty much one of his first appearances with WCW. I would think Scorpio would be much more of a veteran in that respect, since he's kind of been with WCW for a bit, and I feel like he's been around a little bit longer than Benoit as well. I know Benoit's been in Japan and Canada and all that kind of stuff, but I thought that was a real weird stance to take. But they also talk about Scorpio and Bagwell talking to all the legends, and based on kind of their current ways of life nowadays, I would really like to hear some of those conversations that Bagwell and Scorpio were having with freaking Dory Funk Jr. and Nick Bonkwinkle in the background. So that would have been pretty funny. The ending was pretty botched. I blame Nick Patrick mostly for it, or almost completely for it. He just, I feel like he kept messing stuff up. But I thought it was a pretty hot ending, and Scorpio had the absolutely nasty finish where he does the like the Phoenix Splash, but he does the leg drop, but he absolutely sits straight on Benoit's head, which made me kind of cringe. But yeah, this was a hot opener. I really enjoyed, like I said, the Benoit and Scorpio parts. Eaton and Bagwell were good as well, but those spots when Benoit and Scorpio were in the ring were the best parts, in my opinion. I went 2.5, and just a couple of things on the intro that kind of Shawn was talking about. I felt like Shawn would probably be right at home with the black and white and all the pictures of the wrestlers from his early.
That was the best part of the entire intro. Yes,
but there was four things that damned this from the very beginning. Jesse's not there. Max Payne plays a guitar solo to open things up. Moolah gets a special royal entrance, and then Eric and Missy have the technical difficulties. So to think that this pay-per-view was probably going to be good probably got thrown out the window about 5 minutes in. So I'll stop.
Okay, Scott. So if you got anything to say about the entrance or the intros, then you go for that as well. But I will say, Benoit in '93. This is a weird time period for him. I mean, I know things are weird anyway with Benoit, but at least he was rocking that in '93 mullet. That was spectacular. But like Logan says, the fact that they were pushing Bagwell and Scorpio's this inexperienced team, it certainly in Scorpio's case, was slightly odd, I thought.
Yeah, I know the month at Super Brawl that Too Cold and Benoit had like a 20-minute match. I think went to time limit, or Scorpio won with like 3 seconds remaining. So I think they were going off. I think they were going off of that. I liked Bagwell teaming up with Scorpio, and then later down the line in '94, we see team up with the Patriot. I like Stars and Stripes. I like this tag team as well. Scorpio hits a nice corkscrew moonsault, which I thought was awesome and something I wasn't expecting to see in 1993 wrestling, especially with what we'll see tonight. But Bobby was just awesome in this. And I liked how they were saying like the tag team of Bobby and Chris, like Chris is a veteran, but Bobby can still teaching things. The ending was botched a little bit, but I do blame that on Patrick being out of position, but I went 2 3/4 for this. I really liked it. And going back to the start, I enjoyed the newspapers too. It adds like gravitas to these legends. Like even if you've never heard them, like, oh, this is kind of a big deal. So I enjoyed that a lot. And a bummer that, we weren't going to see Sting and Flash Norton out there tonight.
It was like Shawn. So like Ben said, that finishing sequence, although Patrick was out of position, it was an absolute killer, that finishing move that Scorpio put on. I'm really glad that they mentioned the Super Bowl Classic, because that match is genuinely one of my favorite WCW matches.
Yeah, it is a good match. And here's the thing: the other thing that's really cool about this match, Eaton and Benoit actually had a really short-lived team, and I actually thought it was a pretty good team. But I liked it, but it didn't actually work out. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the other note I made first that was, thank God we got the Scorpio intro to offset the Max Payne bullshit. Logan already brought up the Scorpio. I mean, is there a better banger? I mean, I know you guys like the Rick Rude and the Natural and all that. I'm sure we'll hear that later. But Scorpio's theme music is just absolutely freaking amazing. I love it. I also like it when there's teams because they come out in matching tights. I like Scorpio and Benoit. I thought when they started, it was absolutely lit and great shit. Scorpio at one point was taking both guys on and just looked absolutely great. I also hate to say it, but Bagwell and Scorpio, I kind of shit on them as a team back in the day, but they're a pretty damn good team. It looks like the Benoit beefcake tights, pretty old school. Used to wear those all the time with the patterns on them. Remind me of beefcake back in the 80s, but I love those tights. And yeah, Benoit ate some knee shit on a missed headbutt, and then the leg drop off the rope by Scorpio was absolutely sick. But here's my problem. I don't like this 93 run for Benoit because he's actually a glorified enhancement talent, and basically he just jobs to others so they can look good, and he gets beat a lot. So I feel like they really fucked up Scorpio Benoit this time because they were great, but 9 times out of 10 they lost unless Scorpio was teaming up with Bagwell. But pretty solid opener. I went 2.5. Yeah, I thought this was a fun little match, and I dug it quite a bit.
I also went 2.5, and I can't believe that none of you have mentioned my favourite moments of the match, where we get a close up of a fan with a sign in the crowd which says, "Maris is great."
Maris is good.
Maris is great. You have one job. You know, when you're writing a sign, spell check, people, spell check. Even if it's a sign that's been handed out to you, just check what you're holding up.
They didn't have spell check back then.
Well, and it is the Omni in Atlanta, so it's just
okay.
Yeah, it is the Dirty South. So I mean,
all right. Our next match is Van Hammer versus a mystery opponent who is going to be managed by Colonel Robert Parker. I'll go to Logan first to talk about this match. The mystery opponent turns out to be Mr. Sid Vicious. Logan, this genuinely might be my favorite squash match of all time.
It is a pretty awesome squash. I thought Van Hammer came out looking kind of like the kicker from the Replacements, Reese Evans or whatever his name is. I thought he looked like him with like a perm, basically. But yeah, Sid's just awesome. He's always awesome and just completely kills Van Hammer in like 35 seconds. So just a great squash to kind of reestablish Sid, even though this run ends up really kind of not going anywhere. It declines sharply, I'll say. But yeah, pretty good. I'm not gonna rate the match because it was 35 seconds, so I'll give it 8 on the power bomb meter.
Okay, that seems fair. Schiff, everybody says that Sasha Banks has the best resting jobber face, but Van Hammer in this match gave her a damn good run for her money, I thought.
Yeah, Hammer came out, and I think this is like the first time I saw him in tights. I thought he was going to come out in the stuff he wore in like 91 or 92, so I was thrown off by him having a singlet on, and I was completely shocked that him and Robert Parker had a feud. The video package they showed for this was longer than the match. The crowd loved when Vicious came out. I agree with Logan. I can't give it a star rating because Hammer got 3 punches and then Sid hitting with a clothesline and a power bomb. That was literally the whole match. I guess if we're doing power bomb meter, I'll go 7.5 because he struggled a little bit with getting Hammer up.
That seems fair. Sean, how about you? We're going power bomb meter rather than match rating. So I know you love Rob Parker, so you can talk about him for a bit.
No, I fucking hate Rob Parker. Like, Parker, yeah, like Parker, Van Hammer. Is this the feud that we all wanted? I mean, it's. Like, and even when they're interviewing Parker before the match, they're like, this is a special match. And I'm like, who's a fucking special match with freaking Van Hammer? So the other thing the first note I make, Van Hammer really had a long career here, which is really a tragedy. That guy started, in 91, and he ran all the way, I think, through the end of WCW, I think was his run. Is that right?
Who can forget him as Major Stash?
Well, I know, but think about that run for that dumb motherfucker. I hated his tights. Looked like he rated Mr. Perfect's tights, and he looked fucking stupid. I hated the Parker gimmick. It wasn't necessary. It was stupid WWF 80s bullshit. I love the gurney coming out. And by the way, Sid, I popped big time. In 93, when he walked out, I popped huge. And I popped even bigger when the little fireworks stands, the little sparklers they had at ringside that go off for him because he got a big intro, which really wasn't a big intro because their sparklers obviously didn't cost much at the fireworks stand. But the crowd absolutely loves Sid. He murders Hammer, squash, and now Sid is automatically the biggest face in the company. I also did not rate this, but I do like that he squashed Hammer on the debut. And to Logan's point, this doesn't really go any. Well, I don't know, Logan. He does get a big movie production with a boat exploding.
that is true.
So I think you're underselling how great well. Anyway, yeah, that's some really bad shit that maybe we'll watch on this show one day too. But anyway,
and to be fair as well, like if he hadn't had that slight disagreement with Arn Anderson in England, he would have been champion at the end. Of the year.
Well, that is true. I mean, when you get stabbed and fight, you get fired. But yeah, you're right. It probably could have ended better.
We wouldn't have had Flair versus Vader at Starrcade '93, which is an incredible match and hell of a storyline that they do with it. So that's a big what if. I know this is a whole other podcast, but like Sid's career could be like, just one big like what if. The man goes.
the amount of missed opportunity that man has.
Correct.
Here's one for you, boys. Speaking of like Van Hammer's longevity, so I'm in my WCW chrono watch at the moment. So I'm up to May '99. So I watch Nitro, and I know how big a fan of the other guy you are as well. So get this for a match. It was opening match Van Hammer versus Chavo Guerrero.
Oh God.
God.
Oh Jesus.
Ugh. Well,
Yeah, it's as bad as you can imagine. And the best part is that they're playing like Van Hammer as this new serious wrestler, like, you know, because he was this fun, goofy guy before apparently. So they're turning into Tony even calls him Serious Van Hammer at various points. It's like you can't really be serious with a name like Van Hammer.
Listen, totally off topic, and I'd like to kill Van Hammer and put him to rest, but the best match he ever had that I thought I personally watched was the Clash match he had with Cactus Jack. When they ended up in the trough and Missy got thrown in, that was a great match. That was a good match.
I wonder why you like that.
Well, I didn't think the match was bad. It was probably more because of Cactus Jack, though. So, but anyway.
There was something about it, Jack, all right?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's got to be some Jack involved. After the match, we then go up to the staging area where Eric has Red Bassine and Bugsy McGraw with him.
Sorry, I'm laughing already.
No, I don't know them either. Red is loving Slamboree. and Bugsy says Sid is the biggest man he has ever seen. Wants to thank everybody who's there and lets Eric know he's wearing too much makeup. That then leads us up to our first of our Legends matches tonight between Dick Murdoch, Don Morocco, and Jimmy Snuka versus Callum McDougall's favourite Wahoo McDaniel, Blackjack Mulligan, and Jim Brunzell. Sean, I'll go to you first as our resident old fart, Legends expert. Please try.
That wasn't very nice. I am here as a representative of Slamboree 93 and these legends, and you did not have to do that. But anyway, so all right. So first, I did the goddamn interview because I was laughing. Could you imagine you're gonna do a Legends show, and the first fucking two you bring up are Red Bastille and Bugsy McGraw for the first interview? And Bugsy McGraw, like the way I would describe him, he's like a great value George Carlin with the promo skills of Jimmy Valiant. Like the guy was awful. Like I think we're actually going to see him in like 87 on our pod Crock and Roll one day. So it's not the last you've seen of him, Shifflett, unfortunately. But because him and Valiant actually form a team, which makes sense, right? But and then Red Bastille, that mustache was anyway. So yeah, I just can't believe they opened with these two idiots. All right, so here's the match. So I'm going to take my lumps on this. So again, I did like the black and white video intros. I think it adds a little ambiance to it, so you can make fun of me for that. This is now the second time Larry spews his Pyramid Legends bullshit. Brunzell's tights are absolutely horrendous. They look like they're made of Skittles. He's like a 50-year-old man wearing like these beach like bikini. I don't know what he's wearing. The announcers keep bringing up bad blood with Morocco, Brunzell, and Snuka. There was never any bad blood with Brunzell and Morocco. I mean, Snuka and Morocco is pretty legendary, but Brunzell, I don't know how he fits into this. Snuka is still very steroid ripped. Morocco is clearly off the juice as he's hitting the probably the Waffle House next to the Omni. Big gut. Murdoch, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to take shit for this. I think Murdoch is a great fucking heel. I thought he bumped well for the immobile Blackjack. Wahoo, lots of chops, slams Morocco, so typical Wahoo offense. I also like Shivani listing the backgrounds of these guys. I just thought it was really good. Murdoch busting out a power slam and leg drops. I don't know how you kind of discount that. Like Murdoch hit a goddamn power slam and a leg drop. Like, that's good for 1993. Wahoo's bald spot, by the way, deserved a Hall of Fame spot on its own. Murdoch, the bad part is, almost fell off the top rope when he went up to the top, so that was pretty bad. Anyway, Wahoo and Snuka absolutely sucked. I thought this was fun, and I think it was mainly due to Brunzell's face in peril and Murdoch, who I absolutely love Murdoch. It was a no contest finish. Snuka, I thought, took a really bad bump out of the ring after the match. But for this match, and then I'll stop, it feels like a missed opportunity on two fronts for me because if you had done the High Flyers, which is a really famous team from the 70s and 80s, if you had Brunzell and Greg Gagne go against Dusty and Murdoch, that would have been a really probably fun tag team match. And they probably should have just done Snuka versus Morocco. And Wahoo and Mulligan did not need to be here. They could have got the fuck. I went 2 stars on it, and it's going to be a shit take, but I had a lot of fun with this match. And I know I went long, but I'll stop with that. 2 stars.
There's a lot of sighing going on in the background.
Well, I already know I'm going to get shit for it, but I did call out the shit, but I did call out who I thought was good, and I'll leave it.
Okay. Schiff. Sean's mentioned all the good things that Murdoch did, but can I mention as well the fact that when they were trying to do that...
I mentioned the fact that he almost fell off the top rope.
No, well, I'm going to mention the fact that when they were doing the crisscross sequence, he decided to stand on top of Blackjack Mulligan because he couldn't quite get over him.
I thought that was perfectly fine. That's perfectly
That's what
fine.
I'm going to mention. Okay, all right. Scott, I don't know about you, but I get the feeling like Jim Brunzell was in there because he was literally like the only one of the 5, only one of the 6 who could actually still move properly.
Oh God, that's not true.
Anyway. Yeah, we needed someone to take some bumps here. These guys look really old. I mean, I will say, like, Brunzell did have a nice drop kick. He was probably still hoping to get signed. And Murdoch even broke out the head scissors, which I thought was
correct.
Really,
yes.
really impressive.
You say Murdoch can't move. He did a leg scissors, a power slam, and a leg drop. He moved.
But then after that, he almost ate shit on the top rope. And then, like, Snuka like did a weird bump over the top rope at the end of the match. Did you guys see that? Like,
it was a nice savage bump. He took a good bump.
Yeah, too bad he couldn't take a bump in Allentown and save that girl. But
it was a. I mean, God damn it, Chip. Listen, that bump was botched. Probably not as botched as the murder he committed, but it's.
Jesus. Pod's never coming out.
Scott gave me the intro to that. Thank you, Chef. Good layup. Thank you.
Wrestling's chicken salad. Fun for all the family. Carry on, Chef. Carry on, Scott.
No, like, and I'm shocked that Snuka was here because, you know, he was always like a WWF guy, and I just thought he showed up in like in January of 2000 when he was when Jeff Jarrett fought the Old Age Outlaws. Yes, that was the name of that tag team. But I went 1.25 stars for that. And just because I was pleasantly shocked, and also these guys are like the same age, like roughly the same age as like AJ Styles is now, and look how old those guys look, and look how young AJ Styles looks. It's amazing.
That's actually a very good point. Like, there's a lot of people now who are this old. Logan, Sean's mentioned some music bangers already, but the what the hell was that Legends music about? Because that is just the worst piece of music I think I've ever heard. I watched this match twice. I went dud on it the first time, but I did bump it up to a full star because I'm going to kind of agree with Sean. There are some good moves in here and around all the old guy stuff.
Yeah. There's a good move or two, and that gets it a 1. The fact that they didn't completely horribly botch anything is the simple fact that it gets a 1. Murdoch came out looking like a blonde-haired Arthur Weasley, so he looked like Ron Weasley's dad when he came out. They talk about an altercation between Brunzell and Morocco before the show. I think Brunzell must have won because he stole Morocco's tie-dye tights, so he had those on with the knee pads and everything. For somebody who's famous for being in a tag team, Blackjack Mulligan sure doesn't seem to understand the rules of a tag match, as he keeps trying to come in and save his partner illegally. The match was already pretty shite, but then they went with the no contest rule, and that kind of made it even worse than it was. Like I said, I'll go 1 purely because I think Murdoch did some pretty good stuff. Everybody else was pretty old looking and broken down looking. So, that's as far as I can go as 1.
see, sure, that's fair. That wasn't totally bad,
No, that one. Those ratings are perfectly fine. Those are fine. I have no issue with the way you ranked it at all. So,
also,
it's
Logan,
coming.
Thank you. Also, Logan, thank you for bringing the word shite into the podcast. You know, it's always good to hear that from somebody else.
You're welcome.
After the match, we then head back up to the interview stage where Missy is now with Mad Dog for Sean and the Assassin. Mad Dog tells us he became a legend for his fans in Canada and all around the world. Missy tries to talk to the assassin, but Vashon isn't done and grabs the microphone off her and decides to wish he was still in the ring, which, seemed totally pointless. But hey, you got to get your shit in. The assassin then throws down a challenge to Dusty Rhodes while sounding like a lawyer reading out a will to a family, which and we'll get the reply to that challenge later on tonight. That leads us to the second of our Legends matches tonight, which is Ivan Koloff and Baron von Raschke versus Thunderbolt Patterson. And it's meant to be Bullet Bob Armstrong, but he's not there because he's injured. So Thunderbolt says he'll take them both on to begin with, and then Brad Armstrong in his best early '93 mullet wife beater ensemble decides he will take his dad's place. Let's go to Sean again first because I get the feeling we've got to get some good in before we get to the bad. Sean, this one I'm afraid doesn't hold up.
There's no good in this one. Okay. So the interview, pre-interview. Watching Missy trying to understand Mad Dog Vachon was extremely funny because she could not understand a word he was saying. The assassin cutting the promo and challenging Dusty in 1993. Could you imagine if they actually went through with that match in 1993? Like, the assassin is so immobile. We actually do get to see him later on, and he's a manager. I think he's one of the early managers of Pretty Wonderful when they formed. Am I correct in that?
You are correct.
Yeah. So. All right, so the match. So a couple of notes I made here. But the Baron von Raschke could not wrestle in 1986, let alone in 1993. Feels like a missed opportunity for them to get Nikita here because they could have done the Koloffs. And with Thunderbolt, they could have done Manny Fernandez here because he could still. So I was surprised there was no Manny Fernandez here because the Koloffs versus Thunderbolt and Manny would have been two tag teams from the past that would face each other, or Thunderbolt could even had Ole Anderson because they were a real big famous tag team. But missed opportunity there. So Bob, like you said, had his knee operation. And the other mistake they made, they gave Brad Armstrong a mic, which you never should do ever. And then the other thing that was amazing is Thunderbolt Patterson just wanted to take all Brad's clothes off, which I don't know what the fuck that was all about. He just started stripping Brad down. This is terrible. Baron von Raschke looks like a cadaver, and this is really, really bad. And I went a full-fledged dud. There's no good in this whatsoever. So you'll get no argument of me out of anything that you say about this match.
Well, if Sean goes a dud, I hate to hear what the rest of us are going to go for. If Sean's going to Scott, where do we start with this? You've got your great value junkyard dog. You've got Bullet, like Sean says, Brad Armstrong should never have a mic. Baron von Raschke, bless him, still looked exactly the same on Dynamite a couple of months ago that he does here. This is just bad.
Yeah, I've had to watch Baron for Crock and Roll, and he still looks the man doesn't age. He just looks 83, like a vampire, forever. I will say, Ivan says that Armstrong should be named Weak Stomach. That made me laugh at just how horrible it was. Then Brad comes out, which you always hear in all these wrestling podcasts how great Brad was. Like, they say he was a great, worker in the ring and so funny backstage. I've never seen it one bit. He's kind of boring to me. I think I gave it 1/4 star, and that was just for Ivan saying Armstrong should be named Weak Stomach.
Wow. Oh God, Scott, that's terrible. Ooh.
I know. It's real bad.
Logan, are we going into positive stars, or are you even dipping your feet into the negative water?
It has to be pretty offensive for me to go negative stars, so I can't quite do that. I will go dud. My only note on this match is the only good thing about this match is that it wasn't very long. It was only 4.5 minutes. Other than that, it was just a young guy that no one cared about and 3 old timers sucking wind. And Baron von Raschke looks like malnourished George the Animal Steel. That's all I got.
I went dud as well, but I did make the note about where am I? Patterson tries to hit that clothesline to finish at the end, but all he ends up doing is gently massaging Van Roski's throat, which I'm sure he enjoyed that, but this is what happens when you let a bunch of old guys in the ring who can't quite go anymore. But after this match, we then go to a couple of old guys who definitely could still go in the ring. But it's not an in-ring match. It's a interview segment. It is not just any old interview segment, though. It is the Flair for the Gold, hosted, of course, by Ric Flair, who promises us the reformation of the Horsemen tonight. But first, for everybody, we get Fifi, of course. Rick then introduces Arn Anderson, who promises Barry Windham is in for a world of hurt tonight, and he will become the NWA World Champion. Rick then casually announces that Tully Blanchard will not be there tonight, but does intro Ollie Anderson and his rocking tuxedo. And they give the kayfabe reason of Barry getting to Tully to explain why he's not there, nothing to do with the amount of weed and coke and stuff or whatever it was that he ended up doing. Rick then tells Ollie to sit with the girls as he intros the newest member of the Horsemen, who, of course, for those of you who don't already know, was Paul fucking Roma. Him and Elite should not be in the same sentence. Rick then throws a challenge down to the Hollywood Blondes whilst the rest of the boys hold up the four fingers. Sean, Paul Roma, what's going on here? Well, it's even watching at the time, it must have blown your mind.
Well, they built this show like in the build up to it about the Horsemen coming back. So of course, I expected Tully, but Tully was going to be here, and he actually got busted for cocaine, so he did not come back. But the flair for the gold is terrible. I always hated this segment. It was very tacky, all time shit. But Arn cutting his Wyndham promo. This is one of the reasons why I love this show so much. Is I remember at the time they did a really good job of the storytelling with Arn about. He's never won the big one. He's never won the big gold belt. And he did a really good job of building the match between him and Wyndham. So that's one of the reasons why I was looking forward to this pay-per-view. So I like the promo. And they built it as Arn's one shot at a world title, which I thought they did a good job with. Let's see. Like we said, Flair said Tully just didn't show up. I thought it would have been better if they had actually said he was coked out of his mind and they fired him. That would have been very entertaining. Ole is rocking the tux, looks 100 years old, but I also like how Ole wants to get himself some young ass. Like if you look at the young horse, like the Horseman in '86, Ole's not like the rest of the leches where he wants to bang all the women, but I kind of like that he was into it there, so that was kind of nice. I remember seeing Roma come out and totally saying "fuck off." The crowd absolutely shits on him. And Romo, when he's cutting his promo, like totally looks like he's taking a shit. Like he has no facial expressions. He has no promo skills and just awful. And this was awful. And then the announcers no sell it, which was even better. So this whole segment, if I don't know if we could give like a dud to a segment, but I give this like -10 stars. This is all shit. So
you can do whatever you want on this pod.
Yeah.
I'll take a negative rating.
This is like one of the all-time worst things that WCW ever did, teasing the Horsemen and bringing in Paul Roma. One of the worst things they ever.
Shift, like Sean says, when you're building a show up and the big reveal ends up being Paul Roma, you're in pretty dire waters at this stage.
Yeah, I hate to be this person, Sean, but the Coke was in '90. This was they lowballed him on an offer, and he just kept returning the calls.
No, that's okay. I prefer to think he was doing coke. Let's just leave it at coke. I'm good.
Okay.
I got it wrong as well, so I'll take the blame with Sean.
No, you know what? You're right, and I did not do my job as a historian to represent Slamboree '93, so I apologize.
Well, no, because after watching this, I went back and started reading the old Observers, like just to see what the hell was going on, like after Slamboree, and that was one of the things that was brought up. And like Ole, and the most messed up thing with WCW here is they were hyping even before Flair come out. Oh, we're gonna reunite the original Horsemen, and they give some half-assed excuse with saying that Barry got to Tully, so that's why. It would be so much better if we saw later that Tully comes out and was like Barry's manager for the night. Like that would have made it 100 times better than what this shit is. You know, Shawn, I know you're older than me. Did you find Fifi attractive?
No, I never have. No.
Because the crowd was like going crazy, and I was like, "Is this it? Is this it?" I mean, but
No,
Freya's
I
been
think
married like 7 times, so
Fifi would probably be in my '93 smell club.
She's in my 2022 smell club for having sex with Ric Flair.
You and I are on the same page with Fifi for sure.
Oli, just some old ass curmudgeon, and it would have made sense if they would have had Arn, go win the title here, and but WCW already taped 6 months ahead, so what can we do here? And like you said, Roma, I remember I was like I talked to you guys before. I was 4 years old. I remember Roma being in the Horseman and thinking like, this is what the Horseman's supposed to be, because then he teams up with Arn, and like I think that's the worst partner Arn's ever had. And I'm pretty sure he teamed with David Flair on some like house shows for WCW.
and won the tag belts with him, the boot.
Yes.
Well, with Schiff's explanation, I am just thinking out loud now. I wonder if they actually thought we might get on the night, or the offer, the refusal of the money was pretty damn close to this, and they just didn't change it till the night. That's from what Scott's saying, that sounds like could have happened.
Yeah. He was offered $500 per night in '93, and he didn't even call him back after that.
Well, you know what? He should have took it because he had nothing else going on. So.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Logan, I will say like for 93, how about this for a Horseman team instead of what we got? So we've got Rick, we've got Arn, and how about we put Austin and Pillman with them? What a unit that would have been.
Yeah. I mean, and Pillman even went in '95 when they kind of redid it then too. I mean, Roma looks the part. I think he looks like he should be a star, but as soon as he opens his mouth, it's just like, yeah, this guy ain't got it. And as soon as you see him in the ring, he's super boring, and there's nothing special about him. But like, I will say he at least kind of looks the part. He looks like he's a young up and coming guy that they can kind of mold. But yeah, everything else he's just not got it. And nobody needs to see Ole in 1993. I mean, he could be a manager, I guess. But he's an old man. And he needs to stay out.
They need to see him. And how dare you praise Roma? He is not Randy Orton Evolution, by the way.
I didn't praise him. I said
you're like
good.
You're making him out like he was Randy Orton in Evolution when they introduced him. What are you doing? Come on, man. Really?
No, I get what Logan's saying. Like he does have a good look, but like once he opens his mouth, it's out the window.
Yeah, but you know what? If you know the history of Paul Roma, and that's why people shit on it, the guy was a fucking jobber in a team with Jim Powers.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. He was a jobber before he was in the tag team, and then he was a jobber in the tag team, and then he came in. He was kind of jobber in a WCW before this. So yeah, I mean, like I said, everything else about him is just not good at all, and doesn't deserve to be in the Horseman. But I will say he at least looks the part. So
yeah, I'm with Logan. Like I say, he looks the part until you actually see him wrestle and then open his mouth. The actual look of the guy, you can see why they put him in. So after this segment, gents, we then go back to ringside where Tony and Larry are joined by Johnny Valentine, who's going to do commentary for our next match, which is a singles contest between Nick Bockwinkel and Dory Funk Jr. Bockwinkel has Vern Gagne with him. Dory Funk has Gene Kiniski. I'm going to go for the case. I'm going to do the case for the defense first. So, Shawn, I'm honestly with you on this match. I actually quite like this, surprisingly. I didn't think I was going to.
All right. So, let me tell you. So, full disclosure, guys, when this match happened in '93, I was 20 years old. So, for me, I'm watching this. I'm like, oh, God, Dory Funk and Nick Bockwinkel. And I hadn't watched a lot of Bockwinkel. I knew he was a long AWA champion. I honestly hadn't seen a lot of Dory Funk. We've watched a lot of Dory Funk on YouTube Roulette. What's amazing is he looks exactly the same here as he does in all the matches we watch from like the 70s. It's ridiculous. Dory's cut out with Gene Kiniski, and quite the receding mullet on Dory, by the way. Like, his hair style has never changed. Nick's out with Vern Gagne. If you know their history, they're usually big rivals. They feuded over the AWA title. They announced it's a 15-minute time limit, and immediately you're like, oh, fuck. I love not Nick Bockwinkel's hair. I think I've said it before. I think he has wonderful George Washington hair. He looks very regal. Like, he looks like the AWA version of Ric Flair. That's how he carries himself, and he's honestly still in good shape. Valentine sounded just like his son. If I had not known who he was, I would have thought it was Greg. It would have made a difference. Larry bragging that he retired, Nick. He actually did. I think Nick's last match was against Larry. And by the way, just for age, in case you didn't know this, in this match, Nick is 59 and Dory is only 52 and looks 100. Like, Dory Funk is 52 in this. Think about that.
Woo, DMV Dory, baby.
Yep. So here's what I like. I thought the Funk forearms were good. I did not hate the mat wrestling, but I could see why some others that are on this show that are wrong would hate it. The crowd was absolutely dead, as Larry says. He's enthralled with the match,
Yes,
so I'll give you that. There were boring chants heard loudly. Unfortunately, as 93 fans,
As there should have been.
listen to what I have to say first, fucker. As 90, I mean, of course they're gonna shout boring loudly because it's 1993, and none of these fans probably don't even know late 70s and mid 80s wrestling like this. So that's the problem. They're seeing wrestling that they're not used to. But you got to give them credit. You get a goddamn belly to back suplex, and you get a pile driver. I thought the last minute was very old school rush to beat the draw, which I love that shit. And I am sure I will get the prestigious. So, well, maybe not, because Ben went the same rating I did on this one. I enjoyed this quite a bit. It was definitely an old school AWA match in particular. And even though the crowd chanted boring, I don't know if you noticed this, but at the end of the match, they got a standing ovation. And I think they deserved it.
Because it was over.
No, that's not why they got a standing ovation. They got a standing ovation because these guys worked a 15-minute draw match at their age, and they fucking crushed it. I went 2 3/4, and you can get the fuck. So,
yeah, I went 2 3/4 on it as well, because like it is very competently done, but God, I can see why people hate it, including, I'm guessing, the 2 other people on this call. Scott, like if you want headlocks and chain wrestling and your boring scientific holds, then the first 10 minutes of this match really are for you.
Yeah, it was taking my will to live.
you go fuck. Whatever. You guys are ridiculous.
Here's my note. Just a lockup. Ain't shit happening. DMV clerk is wrestling. Leg lock of doom. List sucks. I said 1970 wrestling doesn't work in 1990, and sure hell doesn't work in 2020. It's like they are wrestling underwater. These near falls are meh. Draw 1 star. And it's bullshit. The AWA was out of business, and the NWA was basically nothing. And we have a draw like it's 1986. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Hey, Schiff.
Yeah,
exactly. You know what sucks? You suck.
I know.
Anyway.
Yeah, they worked this great AWA classic. The AWA went out of business because they fucking suck.
The AWA
they went out of business because they fucking suck.
Fuck you. WCW went out of business too, you motherfucker.
Because it fucking sucked.
Okay, but there are time periods that it did not, just like the fucking AWA, asshole.
Now, let's
because you weren't alive when the AWA was actually good, don't shit on it.
I'm just more upset that, like,
what does that have to do with me being alive? It either sucks or it doesn't.
Because you never saw it. You never saw it when it was actually decent. Was my point.
And to be honest, all I know Bockwinkel as is WCW commissioner. So, like,
yes.
Seeing wrestle, I know he had that stuff with AWA. He was the one that got Bobby Heenan because that was his his manager. That's the one who Jericho curbed a lot of his when he had the suits and saying big words. He stole that right from Bockwinkel.
He was Ric Flair. He was Ric Flair before Ric Flair was Ric Flair.
Okay.
And I'll say at times he was better than Flair, but. And by the way, you've watched Nick Bockwinkel matches on Crock and Roll, and by the way, you've watched Bockwinkel matches on Roulette, Logan, and you liked it. By the way, if you forget,
I don't have a problem with Bockwinkel in his time. This is 1990.
Okay,
fucking 3.
These
guys are 50 years old, wrestling
Logan,
at
what
15
is
minutes
the theme?
Raw.
What is the? God damn it! I have no voice. I'm gonna kill myself. What is the theme of this pay-per-view? It's Legends Reunion.
All of the matches are awful.
Okay, if you're gonna have a Legends Reunion and you're gonna have a somewhat good match, this is the one they should have done. This match as a Legends match is perfectly fine and acceptable. The other ones I might give you. This one's acceptable.
Can you two play nice, please? We have a special guest with us.
Oh yeah, just on other.
I expect
he's not a guest. Yeah.
I expect better from you two. Logan, what I will say is, I mean, like I said, it was very. I personally felt it was very competently wrestled, but I definitely felt every single minute of those 15, and it didn't help that the countdown for 5 minutes on. Wait, you knew exactly where this was going.
Yeah. And Shawn used the word rush at one point in his explanation. There was no rushing in this match.
Yes,
everything was done in slow motion.
There was
everything was done in slow. Let me talk. It's my turn now. Everything was done in slow. Everything was done in slow motion. Nothing was done with any kind of speed. It was boring. I'm just being honest. This is how I feel. It was boring. I can't get into this at all. In 1970, this is a 2.5-star match at minimum. It's probably great back then. I understand that. I understand that I'm uneducated at that time period. I'm uneducated to that time period. I get it. I agree with you, Shawn. It's my lack of knowledge. It's my lack of diving into that time period. I don't get it. It's not something for me. I was born in 1993, so anything past this is probably more my speed. This is not a match for me. In 1970, like I said, bare minimum 2.5-star match.
No,
probably
in 1970 it would have been 3.5, but I also respect your opinion based on not being in your type
bare
of wrestling.
minimum. It could have been greater.
It's not your wrestling style due to your time frame of when you watch wrestling, and I respect that. I do. I totally respect it.
Hey, gotcha. But this match took place in 1993, so I will give it 1 star.
But I do ask that you respect my opinion because I did watch it there anyway.
I do respect your opinion. I just don't agree with it.
Okay.
But my 2 notes in this match is they mentioned that Dory had a 4-year title reign at one point. And watching this match, it makes me think of fingernails on a chalkboard because that sounds awful. But again, I'm uneducated to his title reign and anything that he really did. Also, my second note is these two should have had a triple threat with Arn at some point. So this could be the matchup of the 3 guys who look 60 years old their entire adulthood. So that's all I got.
that is a very good point. Very good point.
Right, gents. I think at this point we all need to take a little break and just 5 minutes to go get a drink so we can all calm down a bit. So that will end things for part 1 for Shawn Kidd, Scott Shifflett, and Logan Crosland. I'm Ben Locke, and we'll be back with the second part of episode 24 of Chicken Side, and we will see you on the other side. Nation, welcome back to part 2 of Chicken Salad. My name's Ben Locke, and I'm here with Shawn Kidd, Logan Crosland, and Scott Shifflett, and we are talking all things Slamboree 1993. So let's get back to the Omni, where Eric Bischoff is now with Lou Fez and Bob Geigel, and Lou is very happy to be there and is loving the show so far. Bob is also happy to be there and puts over the previous match. So Bob Geigel thinks it's good, gent. So just bear that in mind. Bob Geigel likes it. Our next match is Our next match is a tag team match consisting of Rick Rude and Paul Orndorff versus Dustin Rhodes and Kensuke Sasaki. This match for me, as Shawn has already mentioned, 93 WCW had a couple of absolute banger of theme tunes, one of which is, of course, Simply Ravishing, which is probably my favorite theme tune of all time. Another one of them is, of course, the theme tune of one Mr. Dustin Rhodes, who is otherwise known to all of us as...
Oh, they call him the Natural.
Natural
as can be. They call him the Natural. It comes naturally. He's the son of a son. And son of a gun, the horse does a rodeo bulldog. He's the natural one.
He certainly is. Thank you, Logan. And as I'm watching, as we are recording this right now, Dustin Rhodes having quite the banger with CM Punk, which kind of just gives you the man's longevity right there. I will go to Logan first for the second part of the show. First of all, I'm very much in favour of Rhodes and Rude and Orndorff wearing matching robes to the ring. That was a lovely touch. This match, I thought was okay. It could and should have been a lot better, but. You know, it was compared to what we've seen so far. This was perfectly fine.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely should have been better than it was, without a doubt. I won't deny that. Early, I love the arm work that Rhodes and Sasaki did on the heels. They really wrench the arms and kind of rip it out of place. I felt like Rhodes' offense and Rude's selling ability are kind of a match made in heaven because Rhodes is real fast paced and can throw some big haymakers and stuff like that. And Rude sells like he's probably one of the best sellers in the industry. But Rhodes does a disgusting tombstone on Rude at one point. The way Rude sells the atomic drop will never not make me laugh. He just does the weird little walk around, like I don't even know. He's just amazing when it does that. The worst part about the match was the end. Sasaki takes the Rude Awakening, but basically no sells it, which is kind of disheartening. But it's kind of expected because all the Japanese superstars kind of no-sell a lot of the harder moves that the American wrestlers do to them at this point, I feel like, in a lot of these matches where they have talent come over. So it's disheartening, but it's halfway expected it. But for the work that the guys did, I thought it was a 2-star match. Like I said, it could have been a lot better, but that's how I felt about it.
I also went 2 stars on it, so I'm right there with you. Scott, now, I don't know how much of like Japanese wrestling you watched back, from the early 90s, but one of our sports channels over here had some Japanese wrestling on, so I was really pleased to hear that, when they mentioned the Hellraisers, and because they were one of my favorite tag teams of the early 90s, but as much as I love Dustin Rhodes, I wish it was Hawk and Suzuki in this match because I get the feeling that would have been quite the stiff chop fest and Rude would have took no shit. But yeah, like that finishing sequence was just awful. And it like you say, it should and could have been so much better than it actually was.
So with matches in Japan, I've only known what Shawn has graced me with on roulette and crock and roll.
So trash.
The ones on roulette have been 4 stars, motherfucker. So shut up.
He is right on that. I love the themes as we spoke about earlier. I thought it was a little fucked up. They were working Paul Orndorff's arm, considering he has all those issues with his arm. But heck,
it is smart working the bad arm. I mean,
yeah. I forgot how great Dustin and Rude's chemistry was.
Oh God,
it was just off the charts great. I love they had a reverse pile driver spot in there, which Rude always did that in those matches because I remember him doing that quite a bit with Steamboat and Sting, but I popped for them every time. The ending was a little off. I originally had 3, but I watched it again today, so I dropped it down to 2.75.
Cracking. Sean, from what we just spoke about off air, I think you might not be a fan of this. I'm just getting the slight feeling.
Schiff is absolutely locked in the Shawn Kidd Award for the evening for that take. Orndorff and Rude on paper, what I do like, they look like a perfect team together, right? Like, they feuded briefly in WWF when Rude first got there, but they're off. They should be the perfect team. Dustin and Sasaki, not so much. Not really good combo. Sasaki rocking the mullet and looks like a powerlifting hornswoggle next to everybody else. Was the comment I made. I do, and Ben, I also did like the fact that they brought up the Hawk and the Hellraisers, so I did like that as well. I thought that was cool. Logan brought up how he thought the great arm work, and I thought the arm work sucked, and unfortunately there were lots of it. It was terrible. Dustin got a pretty good high backdrop on Rude, and I also like Dustin eating shit, charging Rude, and then flying over the top rope. Now, you brought up the tombstone. Yes, Dustin did break out a tombstone. What you failed to mention is it was a very botchy way to get to it. They botched the shit out of it. Sasaki had with some nice clothesline and a press slam on Rude. The Rude Awakening for 3. Listen, guys, the match was It was nothing awful. I thought the last few minutes were good, but I actually went 2 stars. But it definitely was not 2 3/4 stars. Shifflett. This match it should have been way, way better than it was. It was not good.
I think we're all in the same ballpark, so I think that's acceptable. I don't think you can have a go with him too much for that, Sean.
Nope.
Right, gents. After this match, we then have the Hall of Fame ceremony. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to read my notes, and then if you'll just indulge me to read my notes, and then we'll talk about it after. That's how we'll do this. So the Hall of Fame is taking place in the ring, where Gordon Soley is the MC for the evening. He's a little bit tipsy already, and bless him, can't get his cues or doesn't know his cues when they come up. He has to keep getting told what to do and when to do it. If we had a line of the night on these shows, this would be mine. There are many great living legends who can't be with us tonight because they have passed on. Well, that takes away the words living legend, then, doesn't it, Gordon?
Yes.
I don't ask for much again. I don't ask for much. Gordon reads some of those names out who aren't there and asks for a moment of silence that he does not get from the crowd because they do not give one shit. Lou says is the first inductee of the evening. Gordon reads out his accomplishments out. They also get a nice plaque, I thought, with their face on it, which was a lovely touch. Vern Gagne is next. He's the second inductee. Not much fun happens there though. Mr. Wrestling is our third inductee. He wouldn't take his mask off for Jimmy Carr's inauguration, apparently, which I actually thought was quite a nice story to tell. And our final inductee of the evening is Eddie Graham, whose son Mike accepts the honor. Mike looks like he's just about to go off to sell some cars or make a court appearance for a DUI. You take your pick. It's one of the two. Sean, I mean, you've got to say, compared to like the overblown Hall of Fame we get nowadays, a nice sort of 5-10 minute segment is okay, but Gordon, bless him, is not the man to do that.
Well, this segment is just cringe. I mean, let alone for the people they're recognizing. So I thought Soley was getting emotional as the crowd cheered for him, but I couldn't tell if he was getting emotional or if he had the alcohol sweats because he was clearly drunk. And again, you brought up that he brought up the legends that passed away. He also looks like a corpse who has had his hair pinned on at this point. They did bring up Lou Thesz. His last match in Japan was 2 years ago. I might have to find that for YouTube Roulette for everybody to shit on because that sounds like it could be quite the not good banger for us to watch. Vern, the only thing he really said about Vern is apparently he was active in many things. Mr. Wrestling 2, famous territory wrestler. And yes, he did meet Jimmy Carter. And it was a big deal. It was on all the newspapers how he met this wrestler that wouldn't take his mask off for him, which, is some pretty kayfabe shit. The most cringeworthy is Eddie Graham. And Mike is here to accept. And the first thing I noticed is Mike looks like a miserable prick, just like he always does. Anything I've ever watched Mike Graham in when he's announcing or he's presenting, he looks like a miserable prick. And he also should never shave. He should keep his mustache all the time because he is one of those people that should not shave. And then I had a really inappropriate joke about both of them being in the Hall of Fame for something else, but I'm not going to make it. And this is a lame Hall of Fame ceremony in general. This is terrible. Yeah, this is awful. Not a good ceremony whatsoever. And the people they actually put in the Hall of Fame here, I think the only one that makes a whole lot of, there's two. Lou Thesz and Vern Gagne makes sense, but the rest of them, it's kind of like, and you're right. The crowd gave no shit about any of them. So not good. Not good.
I'm admiring the fact that you've shown a bit of restraint there by not telling your joke. I mean,
I figured Schiff will do it, so I'm just gonna let him do it.
Okay. So Schiff, have you got like an inappropriate joke for us? Sean's two sons here, the two princes of inappropriateness.
Just that no one can get the. No, I'm not saying that one. No.
Well, you do, hey, Schiff, you do know what I'm insinuating in that, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, don't disappoint me.
No, I can't. It's rough.
All right, fine. All right.
I'm sorry. I'm
okay.
sorry.
Let me down. It's okay. Go ahead.
I mean, have you got anything else to add on this? I mean, it was a fairly basic ceremony, I thought. Look, Chef.
Yeah, I didn't know that Luz Thez looked like that. That was like my first time seeing him, so I was shocked. It's just not what I thought when I saw him. The Mr. Wrestling 2, that's Tim Wood, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he just passed away recently, so I remember reading Meltzer's obituary for him. It was nothing, but it was something very cool, and I'm pretty sure WWF then pumped out their Hall of Fame and threw Andre in around this time, so they had their dueling Hall of Fames. Even though I think this would go away after '95 when Poffo goes in, because that's what made Gordon Soley quit.
Yeah, they did the Andre one WrestleMania 9 weekend, didn't they? He was the only one who was inducted in, as I remember. I mean, Logan, Gordon's very much a man after your own heart. Let's just appear absolutely smashed on TV and try and speak competently.
Yeah, I completely skipped this segment just because I didn't want to sit through this. I wanted to use my time wisely in my life and not have to sit through all this stuff. But my favorite part at the beginning of it was he was like, "All right, calm down now. Everybody, calm down. Let me say my piece." So he was like talking to them like they were fucking children in the crowd. So that was my one thing I can talk about that at the beginning Sully was trying to please calm down now. It's time to do the honors. Let's go. So he sounded like an old dad trying to get his kids to shut up in the car. So I thought that's pretty fun.
After the Hall of Fame segment, we head up to the interview area where Missy Hyatt is now with James Blears, who's apparently Mr. Hawaii, and John Tolas, who is Mr. West Coast, who Missy seems to have quite the thing for. And he's having a great time tonight. And if Missy has her way, probably will be having a great time even later as well. James and John think that wrestling is the best, and then they like the people who apparently quote unquote got the signal for the show, because that's the way things were done in 1993. Blears then presents Missy with her very own monocle to wear, which I don't know if you're aware of this, gentlemen. All people in the UK do wear a monocle, so that's quite the gift to give.
I know it.
Yes.
What I also appreciated is he made a tally ho joke. At least he was right about Missy being a hoe, so you got to give him credit for that. So,
faux show.
Yep.
Missy was definitely going to be banging Tullouse later on. That was the thing that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We then go to our next match, which pits Sting. He should be facing Scott Flash Norton, but instead he is going to be facing The Prisoner. For those of you who know your early 90s wrestling, The Prisoner is also known as Nails. As he comes out, there is a Bossman chant that fills up the Omni. I love the fact as well, he even wore the same jumpsuit he wore in the WWE. He didn't even bother to change that. Sean, I know you're not the biggest Sting fan, but this genuinely might be the worst Sting match I've ever watched.
I'm sure if I tried, I'd find something worse, but let me tell you something. I'm sure, like Norton, I know, I was like, oh, is Norton in 93 against Sting would have been good. It would have been a good match, so it's kind of a shame that we missed that. But to your point, he's wearing the same outfit, zero originality in this. The frantic Prisoner choking and hanging Sting was so fucking comical, and it's awful. Sting, I'm going to be proud. This is going to get you guys mad. Sting in 93 is not the wrestler to be carrying anybody, let alone this guy. Like, he cannot carry a match to save his life. He's never been able to carry a match ever in his career because he sucks. Prisoner got way too much offense on the top babyface. The top rope clothesline for Sting got 2, which is garbage. It was shit. This match is insulting, and I'm going double dud. And then Tony has the nerve to say the Prisoner has made his mark, and I don't think we see the Prisoner ever again. So, yeah, this match can fuck off. Terrible. Awful.
A double dud. I think that might be the first ever double dud we've ever had.
Yeah,
Scott,
awful.
I will say, if you like your punches, your kicks, and your chokes, this is the match for you, because it's 5 minutes until we see a wrestling goal, which is a body slam. But yeah, if you like punches and kicks and chokes, yep, watch this.
Yeah, the Prisoner was choking Sting like it was Vince. I mean, Jesus, like, how does WCW screw this up so bad? I mean, I read that the reason why they took Scott Norton backed out is because he just saw that he wasn't on any of the TVs after Slamboree, so he's like, I'm not gonna, lose and then leave. But it's not like Nails is the best wrestler anyway, so it was just bad all around. I'm going 0.25. Just Sting couldn't even hit his, they didn't even let him put him in the Scorpion. He hit a cross body block from the top rope, and that's how they won. Why are they trying to protect Nails in 1993 when, as Sean said, he's the most popular baby face in the company? Maybe slightly behind Flair, because the grown-ups, the adults like Flair and the kids like Sting. How's there nothing planned for Sting on Slamboree 93? They had 5 pay-per-views back in 93. How is there nothing planned for him? It's just piss poor WCW booking right here.
Did you say 0.25? Are you insane?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we all have opinions, Sean. Let's not lost it to everybody. Logan, I mean, this match would have been all right as a 2-3 minute squash, but they went over 10 minutes here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went 0.25 with Schiff as well. I do love that they have the boss man chants going on as the prisoner kind of comes towards the ring. And ironically, this is near Cobb County, Georgia. So I thought that's a pretty weird thing that Nails just happens to be in the match where his biggest rival had been a corrections officer or whatever you want to say. So it was right around that area. I was surprised as much as the prisoner dominates the match. It's hard to believe they didn't have any plans for him past this. Now, as I say that, he is awful in the ring, so I really don't blame them. But I also, it also just seemed like they were going somewhere further with him. But the match doesn't make Sting look good at all. In Sean's opinion, he never looks good, but that's his opinion and his
He doesn't look good at all because it's not good. That's why.
That's not true. But I am glad he won. But yeah, the match doesn't make him look good at all. I'll go quarter star like Schiff did.
Can you explain to me the quarter star? I know it's apples, but how can you even give this anything? I don't understand.
Well, I gave it a quarter star as well, Sean. So
but how? I just don't understand.
Because I'm a Sting mark.
Because we like Sting because he's a good wrestler.
Yeah, and the crossbody was pretty okay.
Jesus Christ. All right, whatever. All right.
Sit in your wrong Stingness.
We then go to Tony and Larry, whose commentary position is in the way of the guy setting up the cage. So Tony has to throw it to Eric, who is with the Crusher, who gives a shout out to all of his grandkids. There's 8 of them, apparently. Eric talks about his cage and tag experience, he's able to explain how a tag match is different inside the cage. Ox Baker, yeah, me neither. He's also there and wants to face the Crusher in the cage and decides to put a bear hook on Eric. That leads us to our tag title match tonight, which is consisting of the team of Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas in their Los Dos Hombres outfits against God's tag team, the Hollywood Blondes. But before the match, gents, Steamboat announces that because they beat the Blondes in the suits, they are going to wear them again tonight. But the real reason for this is that Shane Douglas is no longer with the company. So it is Tom Zenk under the suit. I will go to Logan first. I really like this, but I don't know if that's just because I am Hollywood Blonde mark number 1. I think that might be the reason why.
No, I really enjoyed it as well. Other than Zinc, I think the other 3 guys are really great at what they do. They showed 2 guys at ringside. They kind of kept showing them a few times. They were supposed to be agents of some sort. I wondered what that was supposed to be. I don't really know if that goes anywhere, but I thought that was a little interesting little thing that happened before the match. This is one of those matches where the commentary really kind of annoys me. Larry goes on a lot about how great he is and how he retired all these people and how he was the last AWA champion and all that crap. So he got on my nerves in this match. And Tony's kind of incessant need to point out that the Hombres were both Steamboat and Douglas, and he just kept going on and on and on and on about it. Early in the match, Austin takes 2 absolutely brutal bumps into the cage. I thought that was really great. I thought this was a really, really good match, but it had an incredibly muddled ending. I didn't like the ending at all. I feel like this is another one where the ref kind of screwed up something somewhere along the way, and it just kind of fell into chaos. So yeah, I thought it was a really good match. Good work by all involved. I thought what they did in the match was good. But yeah, the ending kind of screwed it up. I think I originally wrote down 3.25, but I'm just going to go 3 on it. But I thought it was a solid contest.
That seems reasonable. Scott, I will say that for Tom Zink to come in and basically, even just to hold up his end of the bargain, because he had to wrestle that generic style and they tried and he did do a pretty passable attempt to beat Shane Douglas, I thought.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but I'm going to go back to what you said, what Crusher was saying, how he shouted out his 8 grandkids. I'm glad you were able to figure out what he was saying, because I thought I was having a stroke because I couldn't understand a word he was saying. But no, I really liked this match a lot. I remember liking like the Steamboat Douglas feud with the Hollywood Blondes, and the Hollywood Blondes are just great in this. They were throwing each other in the cage. I wish they would have had blood, but WCW 93, we were not going to get blood. We shit on Larry a lot, but he actually says that in the next century, Austin will be a legend. He was 100% right. I like Steamboat's off the top rope cross body. That's where they had the belt. The bell goes off. I thought we had a new tag chance. Everyone seemed confused with that. Maybe like the timekeeper thought it was a shoot, and the Steamboat, those hombres really won. I like the stun gun. That was an awesome looking stun gun, and the Hollywood Blondes win. I'm going 3 as well. After thinking about it more, I did have it originally as 3.5, but I dropped it down to 3. So I don't want Shawn to kill me.
I'm gonna go 3.25 because I really do it. I love that spot where Steamboat suplexes Austin onto the cage and does the splash actually on the cage. I thought that was really nice and really well done. Sean, as the big Ricky Steamboat fan on the pod, I get the feeling you might have a slightly different view.
All right, so here's something that'll shock you. I loved Douglas and Steamboat as a tag team. I know Scott said it. He liked them. I liked them too. They had a match, I think it's Starrcade, against Pillman and Wyndham. That is actually one of my favorite tag team matches ever. It's just a great banger, and that's before Pillman joined the Hollywood Blondes. So this feud was really well built. I mean, they had done a good job, and the problem is, obviously Shane Douglas is gone. They're doing a cage match, and this is supposed to be the blow off of this feud. And honestly, being in those Los Hombres outfits kind of took me out of it a little bit. There's a couple things that really stand out for me. Tony makes a comment that he has no idea who Steamboat or Douglas is. And the first thing I made is, well, here's a clue. Douglas isn't even here, you fucking dumbass. There's a lot of arm work. And I think the arm work, faces work over Austin's arm for a long time. And one thing I'm not a big fan of is doing a lot of limb work in a cage blow off to a feud. I just don't think it works. I thought it was way too long. But there was some good stuff. Brian got press slammed into the cage. I thought that looked good. Austin hung upside down on a cage, and Steamboat and Zank take turns doing dives on him in the cage. I thought Zink looked awkward most of it because he was trying to make it look obvious that he wasn't Tom Zink, so some of his movesets look kind of botchy, and I don't think...
Let's be real. No one would have known it was Tom Zink.
Anyway. Yeah, well, but you could tell it wasn't Shane Douglas. If you actually watch, you could tell it was not Shane Douglas.
But it's not like it's Flair trying to be the Black Scorpion.
No, but because he was trying to throw people off, because that's what he's trying to do, I thought some of his moveset looked really botchy. I didn't think he looked good. I did like the top of the cage body press by Steamboat to both. Then it gets crazy. The bell rings, but it was a 2 count. And then Steamboat's just a one-man machine. I like the stun gun to Zink, actually, for the win. I thought the last minutes were great, but the match as a whole should have been a whole lot better, especially for a blow-off cage match. Crowd was also dead, by the way, guys. So I went a gentleman 2.25 on this. I didn't think it was good. I didn't like it. Didn't like it.
Well, you're allowed your opinion. But I'll slightly disagree with you, but we each to their own, I think. But I was with you with Bockwinkel and Funk, so just remember that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After the match, gents, we then go back up to the interview area where Eric Bischoff has got Stu Hart Mr. Wrestling 2 and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Dusty puts over the cage match we have just seen and then lays the challenge down to the Assassin because in 93, everybody wants to see that match, god damn it. That's what we're going to get. Mr. Wrestling 2 says Dusty has what it takes to beat the Assassin and thanks WCW for the honor of putting it into the Hall of Fame. Eric also mentions to Stu that wrestling is in his family. I don't know if you knew that, gents. Apparently, the Hearts are good wrestlers. That's a
that was fucking absolutely stupid. That was ignorant. That was unbelievable. He said that.
Stu mentions that all 8 of his boys are in the business, and Diana is married to Davey Boy, who is going to win the world title tonight because he has superior strength and technique to Vader for his quest for the title. Sean, I know you want to say something about this Stu Hart segment, so I will just hand things over to you.
I mean, Dusty Rhodes here causes a tremendous night of wrestling, and then he congrats everybody. And then he cuts a promo on Assassin, and then he actually makes a comment about "come get my ass." And the only thing I can think is he wants the Assassin to come get his ass. That kind of made me laugh a little bit. Mr. Wrestling has no idea what's happening and just stands there and thanks everyone. And then I also made the comment that Eric really asked Stu if wrestling was in his family, and I was popped because, like with Stu, every other word was and Lizzie lists off, and then everything's like he lists off all his children and who all the fucking people are married to. It was so bad. I will tell you what, these legend promos tonight are some of the all-time worst things I've ever seen on this show. They are so bad, so bad.
We've still got a couple of more to come.
Oh, I know.
Scott, I mean, were you impressed with Eric's Hart family knowledge as I was? You know, because I didn't know about the kids being in wrestling.
Oh, Eric has been. It's like they've been like pulling a practical joke on him tonight because like we have Bugsy saying how, you know, he has wearing too much makeup. All these guys are just like fucking with him, and like Dusty like saying like his big ass is out here ready for what's his face, and then Stu, you know, shows up in WWF and WCW in the same year. I'm pretty sure it's just craziness, and I mean, yeah, Eric comes off as an idiot, but he doesn't really have the best stuff to work with. I don't even think Miss Wrestling 2 even says anything.
Logan, first of all, is Charlotte all right?
She's kind of having a rough night right now, apparently.
Oh, bless her.
But yeah, Stu just fucking muddles through this whole thing. He steals all the other guys' mic time. He's just, my son-in-law, the Navy boy is he's gonna be great. He's gonna win the world title tonight. Bring it home with us and celebrate with Diana. You know, so it's just bad. Like Sean said, all of these legend segments are pretty awful. So, but yeah.
Oh well, I'm glad she's feeling better. So we then go to our next match in the ring, which is the NWA title match between Barry Windham and Arn Anderson. And I am pleased to say, gentlemen, that Arn, if he hadn't wrapped up the fashion statement award for the tuxedo he's wearing earlier on, I will say the jacket he wore was pretty damn swank as well. Logan, I wanted to see more of this match. I thought both guys really gave it. I thought both guys were really good in it, and they told a great story. And damn it, I wanted more of this.
I really enjoyed this as well. We are talking about Barry Arn, right? I'm kind of discombobulated right now.
Yeah, don't worry.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
It's all good. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one as well. I thought it was, I just thought it was, I really, really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was kind of sad that this is one of Arn's only shots at the world title. I really think they should have given him the belt here, even if just for a short run. He could have lost it right back to Barry like a month later or something like that. I do love that in the early going, Arn is constantly going for covers to try and surprise Wyndham. I like that he was trying to sneak in a win there. Arn's ruthlessness to the cut on Barry's head when he busts him open is pretty awesome to see. I love how at certain angles you can tell how cheaply put together the mat is. I saw that earlier in the night, and then I kind of made the note in this match. But you can kind of see how each piece of leather the mat is covering the ring. So I thought, look how cheaply put together it was. I thought this was really entertaining. Gave Arn a lot of realistic chances to walk out as champ, but good heel tactics help it pull out for Wyndham. And I went 3 stars on it.
I went 3 stars as well because, like I say, I really, really enjoyed it. Shiv, I mean, this was probably the last. This was probably the last appearance of one of the last appearances of the real Barry Windham until we saw that fat goo mess that was in the WWE in the mid-90s.
I think he has a couple more.
He has a match with Flair.
Yeah, I want to say at the Bash that's pretty good for the NWA title, if memory serves.
Well, it's not good, but
I said if memory serves, it gives me an out. I will say Arn started with a nice belly to belly, and then he hit a DDT, but he waited too long, which is very un-Arn-like because me and Shawn are in Arn's glory years in 1986 for Crock and Roll, and he's just hitting a gourd buster, and he's just amazing in 1986. And seeing him wait too long after he hits the DDT is a little upsetting, and I dinged it a little bit. And I love that Barry, I guess we talked about no blood in the cage match, but he has blood here. So it's like, oh crap. Like he's bleeding a gusher. It's not like a small little cut. He's straight up bleeding a gusher. Arn hit his spine buster. It's not as crisp as his normal spine buster is. Barry thought that he was going to lose, so he started walking away. I love that heel move where the bad guy's getting his ass kicked, and then he's like, him or her just like, I'm gonna leave, and the babyface runs and gets him down, and but that was Arn's undoing because when he got back in the ring, Arn threw down the ref twice, not once, but twice. I don't know if he wasn't supposed to throw the ref down the first time. So Barry grabbed the belt and hit Arn with the belt. I went 2 3/4 with this. A little clunky at parts. It's like, WCW can't get these endings down. How many times have we talked tonight with like the match is good, but the ending just didn't really make sense? This is another ending that did not make sense. And sadly, we still have that. We're still going to have a shitty ending with our last match coming up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Sean, like Shiv says, that Crimson Mask, accidental or not, really added to this, I thought.
Yeah, listen, I told you guys earlier I was stoked for this match. I'm a big Arn Anderson guy. Everybody knows that. And kind of the story they were telling to get to this, to say, hey, Arn's getting his title shot was great. Now, I didn't have any expectation of Arn to win because since Flair got back at Super Brawl, it's been very apparent they're building the him versus Wyndham. They're just waiting for his contract at WWF to expire so he can wrestle. So so Barry's last match before you see him for a while is actually that match where he and Barry face each other for the title at the it's one of the beach, whatever the beach one is, it's coming up, and Flair actually wins the title there. And then Barry injures himself and then he's gone because but anyway, so long story short, I was stoked for this. Wyndham was always one of my faves, and he's been on a great run since like late 91 until about now. So he's really been on a roll. The story, like I said, with Arn should tell itself. At this point, though, Barry's definitely showing signs of getting a little thick here. He's looking a little, little wide, and when he gets to that Flair match, he's really out of shape. Larry, like you said, rattles off more of his bullshit about Game of Chess bullshit that he does. They also take turns shitting on Tully during the match while trying to get Roma over, which I thought was great. Arn's DDT, like we mentioned, was very sloppy. Wyndham did hit a stiff knee to Arn's head. There was a nice clothesline to Arn while he jumped off the rope. I thought Barry actually hit a better DDT. The announcers were talking about the difference between NWA, WCW rules was stupid. It just kind of takes away from the match for me. Wyndham, like you said, was busted open and had like a really nice cut. And what I said on that is Arn follows that up with a headlock. And then Big Barry hitting a drop kick to the top rope, and the top rope clothesline looked good. He's really good on offense. Honestly, guys, I was a little shocked and disappointed in Arn tonight. This might be, I do like Crock and Roll. I don't think we've watched a bad match with him in it. I did not think he looked good here at all. I think he was really bad on offense. Barry had most of the offense. I did like the Arn spine buster. But there should have been a DQ for the ref being pushed. And I hated the ending with the belt. I feel like they really missed the boat on telling a great story about how, Arn would ultimately lost, but I felt like the finish could have been better to tell the story. It was really short. It was only like an 11-minute match. So in '93, I remember liking it a lot better, but I think Arn looked like a total idiot in this, and Wyndham dominated most of the match. So I actually went 2.25 stars on this one too. Very upsetting for me. Yeah, this one bummed me out a lot because I remembered liking it a lot more in '93, and watching it the second time around, I did not feel this match at all. Didn't like it.
I'm in shock. I mean, I'm absolutely in shock in that.
Me too. So
I went 3 on it, and like I say, I wish I could have seen more of it. I thought it was really good, but maybe that's just my sensibilities at the moment. I don't know. After the match, though, we don't go to it. We don't go to a backstage to the interview area. We go straight to our main event, which is a world heavyweight title match between Davey Boy Smith, the challenger, and the champion, Big Van Vader. Logan, I'll go to you first on this because, to quote the great man Big E, this really was actual big men slapping meat.
Without a doubt. I love at the very beginning of this match that Vader kind of gets pissed that Davey kind of no-sells him and then blasts him with about 10 snug punches. I think he does a little bear hug, like arm smack thing that he does to their back, and Davey kind of no-sells it, but then he hits him with like 4 big mutton chop punches in a row. But Davey kind of deadlifting him and slamming on the ground was pretty impressive, as always. And then he does the stalling suplex in the ring, which is even more impressive. He didn't quite hold him as long as he would other people, but I understand because Vader's a massive human being, so I understand not being able to hold him up there forever. Not saying Davey would have been a trustworthy or a good world champion, but he was super over in front of this crowd. This crowd was super into him. So a change wouldn't have shocked me here because it seemed like it was all going towards Davey Boy's way. And it could have been another short-term one. Like I don't think Davey should have ever been a long-term champion, but I think he was over with this crowd to a point where it could have been believable. Vader's power offense is awesome as always. Just awesome to watch. Every shot, splash, or whatever he ends up doing is just as stiff as it gets. He always lays everything in. The electric chair spot that Davey Boy does, just kind of deadlifting him off the mat, is an incredible, unreal, just whatever you want to put on it. Absolutely disappointing to see this end in a DQ. But I understand not wanting to really beat either guy at the same time, but would have loved to have seen some kind of a finish. Probably would have gone 3 if not for the DQ, but I went 2 3/4 because of it.
Yeah, I went 2 3/4. I was going to go 3 until the ended. Chef, I will say, like, I was so impressed with the fact that they showed Davey Boy's power moves off, because if this had been the WWE doing it, there's no way in hell Vader would have took that stalling suplex, for example.
Yeah, I agree with Logan 100%. We should have gave Davey just a quick title, a title reign. Hell, there was a clash in between this and the Bash at the Beach. Have Vader just regain the title there. WCW was always more of a heel, hold the title for a whole lot longer than the babyface does anyway, so that'd be nice, and it would set up to give some more extra juice for the Bash at the Beach tag match, because we have Sid and Vader versus Sting and Davey Boy. But getting back to the match, like, Davey Boy suplexing Vader and just holding him up was awesome. I did love Davey trying the crucifix pin like it was Hercules at WrestleMania, and it didn't work. Vader just, slams him back. Vader hit the Vader bomb, and Davey kicked out at 2, which I thought was awesome. Vader just starts beating the hell out of him. And Larry has this good line: if Stu had a heart, he'd throw in the towel. Tony just says no. Larry responds with, "You're right, he's just a son-in-law," which I thought was a great line.
I quite like that as well. Sean, I will say as well, you definitely would have wanted to have been in the front row for that spot where Vader ended up toppling on top of everybody.
Oh, of course. Like, here a couple things I liked. I like Davey Boy no-selling the Vader clothesline and the Vader avalanche, because when they smacked, I think you brought it up, it's like 2 meat patties smacked together, and you could actually hear the thuds. Like, you actually heard it, and it was so good. Vader punches the forearms. You know what? imagine Hulk Hogan ruining Vader a few years later. I mean, think about like Vader is so amazing here, and I get mad every time I think about Hulk Hogan just like fucking them all up. Davy's power move visuals are on point. The slam on the floor, the stalling suplex, the power slam, the clothesline over the top. The crowd was super hot. Vader's offense looks stiff and on point. The avalanche off the second rope was tremendous. Davey doing a Dynamite Kid with the diving headbutt was something, and then he actually did a Bubba Bomb while he had a broken nose. I like the splash off the top rope. We also, I think Logan brought up the electric chair spot, which was amazing. Catching him on the power slam was also great. This match probably could have gone 3 1/4 and 3 1/2 for me if it had actually had not a shit finish. The ending was terrible. Really good power match. I kind of liken it to Warlord versus Davey at Mania 7, which to me is one of the underrated, one of the most underrated WrestleMania matches ever, because I think it's a really good match, and you're never going to see a match with the Warlord that good ever. And then I do like the finish. I don't like the finish at the end. I don't know why you have to have Bagwell and Scorpio run in, and then you got to have Vader sit there waiting for Sting to come in looking stupid. So I hated the ending. So I actually went 3 stars on it. It would have gone 3 1/4, 3 1/2 if it weren't for the ending for me. It should have been more with the ending than just another shit ending to another match tonight. So not good.
Yeah, I really, like I say, if you stick a decent end on this is 3 1/4, 3.5 stars all day long. It's just that awful DQ ending. And I love Harley, but bloody hell, just don't do that. Just don't do that, especially for the last match on your pay-per-view. But it's not the last thing the crowd see tonight, because they throw back up to the interview area where Eric is now with Magnum TA, who thinks there will be a rematch based on what we've just seen. That's literally all Magnum says. Tony and Larry are then shown with Vern Gagne, who thinks that WCW has got the real talent in the wrestling business and didn't realize the wrestlers were that good, which ends the show. I don't know why they had to put those 2 interviews at the end, but that's what they did. It ends the show, but it doesn't end our show because we've got some awards to give out. So,
hey, Ben, real quick, what actually ended the show was not just the promo, but Larry cutting his pyramid legend bullshit. That's how they ended.
Oh yes, of course. So it was another pyramid line, wasn't it?
Like the sands, pyramids of time, so are the legends or whatever bullshit. Like, just what a flat ending to the show too. Just awful.
Yeah.
We'll need to get Susan to do his Larry impression for us, so we can just say that.
Yes, absolutely.
So, like I say, we have got some awards to give out. I will stick with Sean. What was your favourite match of the night, Sean?
The main event.
Main event. Scott?
I'm going to go with the tag cage.
Cool. Logan?
I'm going to go Barry Arn.
I will split it. I'm with Scott. I also went for the tag cage, so I'll split it. Worst match of the night for me. Worst match for me was the second of the Legends tag team matches. Logan, how about you?
Yeah, the one that had Ratchet in it is definitely the worst match for sure.
Schiff?
Yeah, the Thunderbolt match.
Is it a clean sweep, Sean? I get the feeling it might be.
It could be if it weren't for the Prisoner versus Sting. So Prisoner versus Sting.
Shit take.
No, not a shit take. That was fucking. Listen, I'm more accepting of a bad Legends match than I am of a bad Sting match, because you think he's all great and he sucks. So
it had nails in it.
I don't care.
Flair couldn't get a match out of nails.
You gave it a goddamn quarter star because you're a bunch of Sting marks. Anyway.
And speaking of shit takes, it is time for our newly named award, which is the Shawn Kidd Award for the best shit take of the night, and I will go to Sean first, as it is his award.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, just you're you know what? I'm gonna give it to all 3 of you for the fucking quarter star on the Prisoner match. That's what I'm giving it for all 3 of you.
Well, okay. Chef, which of Sean's takes caught your eye the most tonight? I'm guessing it's Sean who's gonna win it.
Bockwinkel versus DMV Dory being.
Well, then I guess it has to be on Ben too, then, because he gave it the same stars.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. That's fair enough. I am accepting of this though, Sean. That's it.
Listen, I have no shame taking an award for that match because it's a big shit take, and I'm okay with it. So for that,
okay. Logan, what was your biggest shit take of the night?
Yeah, I'm actually going to give it to you, Ben, for agreeing with Sean on that because Sean has differing opinions from the rest of us. You know better.
That seems fair. I'm gonna give it to Sean for not liking the Arn Barry match. That's where I'm going. But it seems fair enough.
For context,
perfectly
though.
acceptable.
But Ben, for context, you have to know what I was expecting out of it at the time.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Okay.
But I'll take it. But that's why I didn't like it. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll accept the other two boys for giving it to me because, like they say, I should know better, and I don't like.
Well, Ben, it's okay to be right, so don't let them bully you. Like it's okay to be right. So.
Okay, Sean, we have
Such
got
a
the
condescending prick.
Yep.
best thing you've called me in ages.
Wasn't talking about you.
Slow-mo Crosland.
Okay, Sean. Let's move it on. Let's move it on. Our next award, Sean, is our fashion statement. So who are you giving that to?
Oh, I'm definitely going with 80-year Ole in the tux smacking on the young trim. That's what I'm going after.
Young trim.
Sean's seeing himself in the retirement village in about 5 years.
Man, I got to give Ole some credit. He's going after the tail. I'm appreciative of that.
Chef, how about you? What was your fashion statement of the evening?
I'm going with Jumpin' Jim Brunzel with, as Sean called him, his Skittle tights.
That was my second one.
I did like the Skittle tights. Logan?
Yeah, I was the Brazil wearing the Morocco tights is pretty good, but I'm gonna go with Sean and go with the Ole jacket and suit combo. Everything that he had going on was pretty swank, so I'll go with that one.
I've got equals. So we've got Ollie and we've got Arn as well because he was also rocking that tux quite well, and then came out in that swank red jacket which only he could pull off. So Arn's gonna win it for me, I'm afraid. Sean, salad, and the most important award of the evening is the show chicken salad or chicken shit.
All right, so here's where I'm at. The show is very strange. It had some good, but it also felt like it was very autopilot. Like even as we're talking through the matches, I just felt like it's a very autopilot show. And for me, and shit take or not, when two 50-plus-year-old men are your second best match of the night, what does that really say? The Legends shit was terrible. The interviews, I feel like there's a missed opportunity for Arn. The tag match should have been better. I feel if I were to base it on matches in terms of rating, it would not be shit. But based on principle, this show for me is shit. It has to be shit. So
okay, that seems fair enough. Chef, same question to you: chicken salad or chicken shit?
It's chicken shit. Even though the last three matches deliver outside Sting and Nails, yeah, it's shit. Like I think Slamboree 94 is a step up. If memory serves, Sean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think they finally get what they're trying to do down there. Legends. I know they have a Tully and Terry Funk match, so I think they do a little bit better with their Legends next year.
That's a show I need to revisit. I've only seen that show one time, so I couldn't tell you. I need to watch that. Yeah.
And it does have the greatest WCW match of all time on it. So you definitely need to watch it.
Which one is that?
That would be the Nasty Boys versus Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I have these odd moments of being right every now and again.
No, you're right. I forgot that match was on that show. You're right.
Logan, what about you? Chicken salad or chicken shit? Because I'm going to go chicken shit. So this is almost a clean sweep, which very rarely happens on here.
Yeah. This is chicken shit for sure. It's like a sandwich. Like the two pieces of bread are like really, really good, but the inside of the sandwich is so bad that you just can't get over it. So it's shit for sure.
I always love Logan's little analogies.
That's the best one I can come up with.
So, final thing of the evening is our league table. I sent it to the gentleman earlier on. So we've got 23 shows on our league table. Where are we thinking, gents? Because I don't think it's going to go anywhere near the top, but it's definitely Like,
No,
if we're all saying it's shit, it's got to be around the top 10, surely.
I think for me, it would fall between WrestleMania 16 and Royal Rumble 96. So I think it would be in between those two.
Okay. So if I read some of the shit, sorry, Logan, go on.
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
I was gonna get. If Scott doesn't know our league table placing, so if I just go I'll go from 18.
Oh,
up.
sorry. I jumped the gun. Sorry, Ben.
No, you're okay. You're okay. So that's where Sean would put it. So 18 is No Way Out 2003, Chef, and then we've got Royal Rumble 96, WrestleMania 16's at 15, then WrestleMania 27, then Bash at the Beach 2000, Great American Bash 99, and number 11 is Uncensored 95.
It's not as bad as as Bash at the Beach 2000. I think I'm gonna go with Sean. I actually agree with Sean for once, which happens more than you guys think. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Sean on that because the other ones are just pure stink.
I mean, I would put it below 2000 definitely, but I don't know if I'd put it above. I don't know if I'd put it below 27 because 27 has that Punk Autumn match, which I love to bits, and there's not that great match on this show.
Yeah. I think I agreed with Sean earlier, but I'd bump it one more up. I'd put it between 16 and 27.
And I'm fine.
Just because I think 16 has that ladder match that's really great.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
true.
Well, never mind. I'm staying where I'm at.
You don't like the triangle ladder match?
No, it's fucking tropey motherfucking shit. So.
Oh my
god!
I'm hanging up.
Okay. Sean has just wrapped up the shit take award for that comment.
No, I was totally joking on that. By the way, yes, that match is perfectly fine. It's definitely the best match on that entire show for sure. So solid 2-star banger, easy. So.
Oh, easy.
Okay.
So I will stick with Sean. Sean, have you got anything you'd like to plug while you're here?
I am going to plug one thing. I'll plug multiple things, but I'll let Logan do most of it since I'm missing a lot of these pods lately, but hopefully I'll be on the next round. So one thing I am doing that is, is just something I started doing, like when I'm on traveling or anything, is I do a little pod blast series called Before I Was a Mark. And basically what I do is I go back and watch matches that predated my late 86 wrestling fandom and go back and kind of rewatch. It's kind of inspired by YouTube Roulette a little bit. They're like 15, 20-minute pod blasts where I just go on and talk about 3 matches that I've never watched before and kind of get my thoughts and my ratings on them. And what's funny is first couple episodes, there is a lot of Bockwinkel. There is a lot of Hansen. There is some funk. So a lot of the people we talked about tonight are in some of those matches, probably back when they were in better standing. I'll leave it at that.
That seems fair enough. Scott, first of all, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Really appreciate it. Thank you again. And secondly, what have you got to plug?
Thanks for having me, guys. This was a lot of fun. I grew up watching NWA WCW, so anytime I get to talk about it, it's a great time. I can be found on Twitter at Scott_Shifflett. And catch me right now on YouTube Roulette. And Pop Goes to the Couch. We're currently reviewing, much to Sean's chagrin, Moon Knight. So
show sucks. Awful show.
There we go. Shit takes aren't done for the night. But thanks once again you guys for having me. It was a lot of fun. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Logan, what have you got to plug, my friend?
YouTube Roulette, like both of the guys said. Highway to the Impact Zone. We just did the 2 shows after No Surrender on our Build to Sacrifice. So that comes out tomorrow as of this recording. I'm sure this comes out way later than what that will even matter, but just as of right now, that's when that comes out. Me and Roger recorded the next episode of Squared Circle, the Silver Screen. We did Jackass Forever. That was a real fun one to talk about. We actually mentioned the popcorn chicken salad that we did about the first Jackass. We talked about that a little bit on there. But Pedestal, Chronoso, I'm going to be on an upcoming episode of Ruthlessly Aggressive. So just listen to everything on all of the trio of the pod networks that we have out there.
Absolutely. I will also mention that I'm going to be in the hosting chair for the next edition of Pedestal, the May edition as we're recording this, where we get to talk about one of my favourite matches from '98, which is Austin versus Dude Love from Over the Edge. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're also into our pre-recorded episodes of Special Relations. So we live watch, speaking of Austin and Dude Love, we live watch the episode of Raw from '98 with the first Austin McMahon match. So that's quite a good listen. Also, by the time this comes out, we will have recorded the first birthday edition of Popcorn Chicken Salad. And all I will say is if you are a fan of 90s skin flick movies, this will be the podcast for you to hear 3 or 4, depending on who's on it, horny 20 and 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old men talking while people are showing body parts. That's all I'll say.
Don't know who picked that one.
Yeah, well, I wonder who. I wonder who. I will also say I will plug the next episode of this pod that will be recorded next month because that is going to be our second birthday pod. And all I will say on, I know, right? That's quite scary to think of it like that. And we are going to be live watching a show, and it's going to be a little birthday present for me, Logan, and Shawn. We are going to be. I won't tell you what we're going to be watching, but we are going to be live watching something that's quite good. So it's going to be like a reverse chicken salad, but you know the usual fun and silliness will no doubt be reappearing. So for Shawn Kidd, Logan Crosland, and Scott Shifflett, my name's Ben Locke, and remember everybody, in a world where you can be anything you want to be kind. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next month.
Terminator, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, trying to play me out like as if my name was Sega, but I ain't going out like no punk bitch. Get used to one style, yo, when I might switch it up and around, then buck down, put out your head and then you wake up in the dawn of the dead. I'm coming to get ya, spitting out lyrics, homie, I with ya. I came to get down, so get out your seat and jump around.